Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring in our top left-hand side ViperXk, our red Terran, and in the bottom right we have CK and ZCK, our blue Protoss. I'm going to go with CK or the second CK. Just CK for our blue Protoss. Both players are in Diamonds. We're on Entombed Valley, and it is a Protoss versus Terran matchup, which is fun. It's a fun matchup. It's very fun. You get to see a lot of high-tech plays from the Protoss, and then a lot of bio plays from the Terran, or they could be feeling ballsy and go for mech, or they could be feeling ballsy and go for air. I don't know. It's Terran. They don't play by the rules. They make up their own rules. Entombed Valley is a very, very well-known map. You've only got one Xel'Naga tower to worry about, but you've got all sorts of different areas that you can hide a CC in, specifically for Viper, so they could lift off a CC, hide it into any one of these hidden expos all over the side of the map. And then for Protoss, you have a lot of open areas where you can just, once you have that bio ball, bully your opponent, but you also have a bunch of the chokes that you can fall back on and defend your third or your second, depending. And yes, if you guys didn't see this, Parting had a very difficult time earlier today playing StarCraft 2. It was rather brutal to watch. It was definitely a clean sweep for Dream, I think. I'm pretty bad with names, but I'm pretty sure I got that right. So it's not really a spoiler, because I could be very, very stupid and just get the name. No, right there, Parting got wrecked. yeah, he did. Oh well. Barracks on the top ground for ViperXk as he starts on that wall off. He's going to get a supply depot right next to it to fully immobilize any sort of probe that could be moving out just to scout. No early gas for him just yet. Leads me to believe it's probably going to be a little bit more of a passive opening, not very aggressive. No shenanigans or anything like that. It's probably going to be throwing down a CC in relatively short order, what with all that money saved up, over 200 minerals. On the other side of things, CK getting down his first gateway as well as his first gas, following on that very traditional pathway of getting out the Cybernetics Core 2. Entombed Valley's natural is very, very exposed. You have a huge choke here and then an equally large choke right here. It's very difficult to fully block off one way or another the natural without exposing your main, or just exposing your natural. Some people kind of use the Nexus just kind of as a foolproof shield, like just take the Nexus, it's fine. But one way or another you're going to lose something, so it's much better to play it kind of conservatively like CK's doing right now. Get up the tech that's necessary, get into second gas already on the way, so that's going to be interesting. You're going to have to pay attention to what's coming out because of that second gas. Traditionally you wouldn't get that just yet. You'd want to throw down the Nexus before bringing that up, and Viper's moving in with his first SCV. He hasn't seen that gas just yet, but he does see the traditional timing for the Cybernetics Core, as well as the lack of a chrono boost down on it. He's not going to be feeling like there's going to be some sort of super aggression just yet. First round of Marines are actually moving off because he really doesn't see anything to deny his scouting, and SCV could definitely throw down a bunker, maybe right around here, so it could peck away at that Cybernetics Core. However, that first Stalker is out. That SCV is not long for the world, especially if it continues to block off the Nexus, which it looks like it is doing, and it looks like the Marines are definitely going to be hanging back, not going to be able to do too much. Wow, look at this. SK throwing down a Twilight Council immediately as soon as that scouting is over and done with, and the Stalker takes a very aggressive stance to deny any scouting. Very unlikely that Viper is going to blow a scan just yet. He's throwing down his own CC, he's getting that bunker up, he's progressing along a very traditional macro style play for Terran. Still no gas, getting plenty of barracks, a third CC. Oh my goodness, he's going to be very, very exposed. I suspect strongly that this is going to be a DT rush with the two assimilators, adding on a couple more gateways, and the Dark Shrine also cues me in on that back. The Twilight Council is totally done. There's really nothing else you could do except for maybe a blink play, but you'd already see a very aggressive stance, more stalkers. Their probe wouldn't have moved down. That's actually a fantastic fake out there by SK. Moved the probe down, had it in position, had the stalker kill the SCV, and they just never bothered to throw down the Nexus. And instead, that probe's moving off into the nether reaches of the map, and it's probably going to be throwing down a couple of proxy pylons so he can actually do some of this aggression. ViperXk, though, he's very, very oblivious to the fact that there is all sorts of stuff going on inside of SK's base, and he's going to be very, very exposed to it. Doesn't have an engineering bay up. He's going to be relying 100% on energy, and is staying on top of his macro very, very well. Fortunately for him, his orbital commands are kind of spaced apart on their energy accumulation. meaning that whenever one has enough energy for a scan or a mule, it'll be another 25 seconds or 25 energy before the next one is ready. And so that means if worst case scenario those DTs get in there right whenever mule's dropped, he only has to wait about half a minute before he can throw down another one. That being said, DTs half a minute, SCVs, it's pretty brutal. Double gas for ViperXk. He's working on that tech with the stem already on the way. Oh, an engineering bay. Absolutely fantastic. Did I miss a scan? I did. Oh, wow. ViperXk with a brutal scan right in the middle of the map. Sees the Dark Shrine. And that's even worse for SK because he knows that that robotics facility was there. Bringing in that first Dark Templar anyway. Even though he saw that that scan was going up, those Marines fleeing for their lives just for a couple of seconds. The missile turret has finished. Will that DT get in? A clutch raise on the supply depot, make it so that DT couldn't make it past the detection area of that missile turret, and now this is done. All the harassment of those DTs is for naught. They can't do anything else until ViperXk decides to take that third. He's going to be reconsidering that proposition with his third orbital command. As long as those destructible debris are in one piece, and as long as this missile turret is in one piece, those DTs aren't going to be able to do anything. They definitely can't touch that wall, and all of a sudden SK is in a very uncomfortable position because this is totally useless. It's a paper rate. He's getting that robotics facility up. Could he be getting blink? No, he's getting charge instead. Interesting. I think, if you're going to cheese, you get an observer up or a warp prism. Bring your guys around here, blink up to the high ground, and then all of a sudden you have that probe line that you were going to be harassing. Especially if it's blink, you can blink up to the even higher ground and work your way up to this probe line. So this map especially opens up a lot of different potentials for that sort of harassment play. And if you were getting DTs out, you already have the tech up necessary to do that, with the exception of something to scout the high ground. You already have that robotics facility up, which is oddly silent right now. Why would you get it up and not build anything, not even an observer? That strikes me as very odd. I wonder what SK is thinking, probably scratching his own brain. How do I salvage this? There goes the observer, but an observer is not going to stop this many Marines. Fortunately for SK, Viper is definitely going to be waiting for quite a while before he pushes out with his bio ball. He's got the +1 on the way, as well as the combat shield and a reactor being added on to a starport as soon as the factory finished building the reactor. And those medevacs are going to be getting out, making this an incredibly intimidating push, but it's going to be hitting in the next couple of minutes. One DT being added on at the second proxy pylon? No. I wonder where that DT is coming from back at home. And it's going to be having a field day with all these Marines that don't have that static detection afforded to them by that missile turret. However, there's plenty of energy now saved up on this orbital command. What about these? Oh yeah, plenty of energy. Oh my goodness, 150? That's energy for days. So this DT is going to have a very, very bad time if he does get caught by more than a handful of those Marines. There goes one kill. So these DTs definitely not being cost effective, but being more cost effective than the first one. The observer making his way up to the high ground. There goes the scan on an observer. Probably saw the ripple, but was hoping it was a DT instead. But in all honesty, it was probably going to be better for ViperXk to snipe out that observer rather than the DTs, because those DTs really aren't that good for anything except for a moderate amount of map control, which can definitely be cut down, especially because that starport's already up. He just needs to transfer it over, get a tech lab, get one Raven out, and all of a sudden those DTs are totally worthless. And it's to the point now that ViperXk can definitely afford to move out, get his third, and SK is just grinning and bearing it. He's really backed up into a corner. Excellent idea to throw on a bunch of sentries. If there's one thing that Bio is weak against, it's being cut up by those force fields, making it so that that Bio ball can't kite away from the Zealots, which is really what that charge is for. 1-1 each is on the way for XK. He's adding on plenty more gateways, continuing to get observers. It might be nice to get some Colossus out. At this point, he's the only thing he's seen right now are Marines, increasingly more upgraded Marines. For the fact of the matter is that it's a heavy bio build coming out of Viper, so Colossus would definitely be very cost effective. However, SK, he was probably expecting the Doom push to happen 5 minutes ago. He was probably counting on the fact that Terran would be, I've shut down your play, so I can't afford to get out anything more cost effective than just 1 or 2 steps up on the tech tree. because you're going to be on my front door in just a couple of seconds. And because of that, he's held off on getting the Templar Archive, he's held off on getting the Archons or even the Colossus, because he just doesn't have the money, or he didn't think he had the time. In reality, he did, because ViperXk has been waiting and waiting and waiting. He's got the +2 almost finishing, +1 armor. Every other upgrade is done for those Marines, and they're going to be accompanied by a handful of medevacs. 2 more on the way. Ghost Academy is done with the, what is that, Mobius reactor? Mobius reactor on the way also for those ghosts. So this is going to be an incredibly intimidating push. Especially because that Ghost EMP ability is going to be incredibly effective on this Templar Archive if Storm does get on the field by the time ViperXk decides to move out and push, and it probably will. I mean, we don't really see many motions. These Marines aren't accompanied by any of the medevacs and anything that would lead me to believe that he's going to wait for it, though that +2 is going to be done in just a couple of seconds. I don't think these Marines are going to be pushing off for the front door. In reality, he's going to be waiting for this factory just to suicide in, take a look around. Maybe he's going to spin another scan just to see what exactly is going on the inside, because once you shut down DTs, the pathway, there's no good way to transition out of that. There goes the charge on the Zealots. He sees exactly what he's dealing with, his heavy gateway force. Only worrisome thing is the amount of energy that those sentries have. With proper force fields, ViperXk could find himself fighting with half of the army that he actually has, and because of that, those Zealots could absolutely chew them alive, especially if they're +1/+1 already done. If Storm is done, but they just don't quite have the energy, those High Templars just now being warped in. 1 or 2 good storms, this could completely swing in the other favor of CK. CK does have that expansion up, totally non-saturated though. I mean, check out this harvester count, 75/50. The economy has been a bit of a drag for SK, now transitioning over a handful of probes. However, the Viper has been off of 3 bases for quite a long time, and look at that mineral income because of all those mules. The 3rd CC that he got super early has definitely paid dividends, and because of that, he's just continuing to dominate and really just bullying around SK. Is he laughing? Oh, because of the mule. Okay, a couple of shots fired by CK brought the factory into the red zone and was burning down, so ViperXk moved it over here and just dropped a mule and then was repairing it up to non-burning down level. However, the observer positioned defensively by CK kind of scouted it, and eventually that factory is going to go down. Not to worry though, ViperXk has a double starports with reactors already going strong on the medevacs, and that medevac number is incredibly intimidating right now. Those medevacs will be rather delicate in comparison to the High Templars with their feedback ability, but I think in reality those feedbacks are, that energy would be, it's better for that energy to be spent on the Storm rather than anything else. 7 High Templars being warped in on the over here by the natural, and this is going to be an intimidating push, except for the fact that those High Templars do not have enough energy. All 7 of those High Templars that just popped out right now don't have enough energy to throw down a Storm on top of anything. Maybe they can feedback these ghosts, and that would be true, except that there's no observer accompanying this force, and with those ghosts being cloaked, these EMPs are going to go down right on top of those High Templars, absolutely no problem. 2 of those High Templars probably did have enough energy for a Storm because they came out in that first wave, but those other 7 ones did not, and that's a massive loss for CK. He was going to be relying on it a great deal because he took such an aggressive position. Right now he's going to be pulling back, and really he needs to engage whatever army Viper throws at him in a choke, because the only thing he's got going for him right now are those Storms. The medevacs from ViperXk is going to keep him in pristine condition. Here are those 2 High Templars actually completely forgotten by CK. He just didn't know he had him, I think. Here comes the big push. Watch for those force fields. ViperXk is actually aware of him, only moving up with a very small portion of his standing Marines. All of the High Templars warping into Archons in the back. Still no Storms, even though it would have been a perfect opportunity to storm them on that ramp. Again, the Ghosts with their EMPs kind of flanked right now, taking quite a lot of damage. The Archons unable to attack. SCK is absolutely butchering this entire engagement. Instead of using the force fields to cut up the Marines, he just kind of held them in place. But I mean, that death ball just kind of chewed. Don't put that on us. Don't. No, that was your fault, CK. No. You got to use force fields to cut up the Marines, cut them into manageable chunks. You couldn't take that force on head. It has nothing to do with Terran. And that the fact that you forgot that you had 2 High Templars which had 100% energy that could throw down a massive storm, especially on the Marines. Whenever you held them in place with that force field, that would have been alright if you could throw a storm right on top of them, but you didn't, because you didn't know you had those High Templars. And then whenever you did get High Templars, you just kind of left them to hang out and dry and die. Yeah, this has nothing to do with Terran being good. This is you just not paying attention to your Protoss, paying attention to your Chronos. You know, it's DTs. If you fail on a rush, you're going to be in a really, really bad situation, and you basically have one of 2 options. You can be incredibly aggressive in your economic recovery and take 1 or 2 extra Nexus, and that's incredibly risky. Or you can be double down on that harassment, get that blink out there like I was saying, and blink up to the high ground. Excellent idea to get the robotics facility out. It was underutilized, to say the least, and you know, CK just kind of bungled this. Viper, though, you block out the DT rush, and you feel like you've won the game already, and it's very, very tempting to just push out and end the game right there, because that would be awesome. That feels good. That feels right. But it's not. I mean, it's an excellent idea just to do exactly what ViperXk did. His build had set him up for a strong economic and macro game, and that's exactly what he followed through on. He didn't allow the DTs to phase him, didn't allow the DTs to change his mind about his build. He used all 3 of those orbital commands to get 3 different bases and build up the bio build that he wanted to build up and push out with it. It was very well done. Very well done. I like that match. I like that a lot. I like you guys a lot. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.